Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. Welcome to the Sunday chat, which is the answers to the questions and answers. Now, I've just spent the last, I don't know how long, wasted time because YouTube's changed something. I can see all my comments on my dashboard, as I always have been able to. But in a session like this, I only want to see the comments on one video. So I select that video and YouTube's changed the way it works. It will only show the latest comments, and that appears to be 1 day's worth. And as this video is several days old, I just get 3 comments. That's all I get. I can sort them into top comment, same 3, or newest first, but I can't get the complete list under the single video. So I've got all my comments to look through now, and I'll have to look at the picture alongside each comment to see if it's on the video that we're talking about, which is probably going to mean I'm going to miss some, basically. This is incredibly clumsy. I can possibly understand why YouTube have done it, but it would be to save space, and you know, people with slow processing and stuff getting annoyed because things take ages to load. I haven't got that problem. I've just got a problem with YouTube messing things about, and in my opinion getting it wrong, because that just has messed me up completely. Right, so I'll just have to work with this. Before we start, yesterday's AGM meeting was followed by the plant auction. I didn't buy anything, but the Cymbidium I took in to sell, the Cymbidium pulmillo, reason for selling, green bloom with a pale coloured lip. Not as attractive as tiger tail. Tiger tail, bigger, better plant, upright spikes as opposed to a cascade. Too similar to keep both, as they were both large plants. So I took that in. I got £24 for that, so I was well pleased. I think I paid 30 for it, but then we've had 2 or 3 years worth of enjoyment out of it in the meantime. So anyway, so that got rid of one of my large Cymbidiums, which was the plan. And the other plant that's gone missing is my nice yellow and black Oncidium, because that's gone to the NEC. I explained to Lynn, I said you can have it, but I don't think it'll last the week. So it's gone to be part of the display, but it might end up not going on the display. They will be setting up on Tuesday, I believe. It opens to the public on Thursday, and I believe Wednesday's dedicated to judging, so everything needs to have been set up by then. So I think they set up on Tuesday. Well, it'll last that long, so it'll probably end up going in the display, but then the blooms will probably start dropping. It's an indoor hall, and if I remember rightly, it's got not a glass roof, but a sort of plasticky sort of roof, because I remember getting deafened in there when it rained once, which probably means it could get quite warm if it's sunny, and that'll help the blooms drop. Anyway, the other thing that happens at the AGM, because it's at the end of year effectively, the competition tables that happen at every meeting, where people bring in, you know, the plants they want to show off. 2 classes there. There's the open class and the experienced class, and I got kicked into the experienced class. I got told off, so I ended up in that class, and we managed to come second for the year, and that's without putting a plant in at every meeting. Chances are, if I'd put one more reasonable plant in, I'd have come first. The way to come first in that competition is to just put a plant in at every meeting. It need to be something reasonable. So that's that. Right, now I'm going to struggle with this, but I will see what I can do. All I'm going to do is the trouble is there's other videos in front of this that have got comments on that I need to ignore. So I'm going to struggle. I'm going to keep scrolling down until that picture disappears, and then we'll work back up again. think we're past it now. I hope it's not just a problem with that video and I still only get 3. So at the moment, the way I was looking before, I got 3 comments and they are the latest ones. Right, that's viewers' video suggestions, which unfortunately has the same picture. As does that one. Do you know, I think I may have a problem with the actual video, and somehow or other YouTube's lost the comments. I'm still looking. Right. I'm just going to go up now because I found the first comment on that video and it's from 1 day ago. That's a new one. I think the comments have gone, in which case we're going to be completely messed up. So there's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that is it. All the comments have gone. Now I can't do that. I can't delete them because technically they don't belong to me, even though they're against my videos. I've got 3 comments to deal with, so I don't know what's happened here. And that's, as I said, that's looking at all my comments. So it's a problem with the video, not with YouTube. Something's gone wrong with that video and it's dumped the comments. Now, I know YouTube will remove comments if it doesn't like them, but it only does that one, it doesn't take everything down. So I don't know what to do now. I've actually restarted the computer, so it's not like a cache issue or anything like that. That's CACHE, not not money in your pocket type cache. I've done what I can, and at the moment I even tried changing channels and went over to the Garden and Bonsai channel to look back at the video to see if it would show the comments, and it didn't. So those comments are gone. I've tried every angle, every which way but loose, so to speak, and I can't get the comments up. Certainly no good going into subscriptions into my feed, because my videos aren't on there, obviously. I've never known anything like that happen before. It's almost as though it's treated as a live video. You do get problems then. You just list comments. One, 2. 3. That's it. There's just 3 comments on that video. There are no more. How strange. Well, let's do those 3. Be sad not to do them as they're there, but they're the only 3 I can see. And the lucky people are the late ones. The ones who put a question in late are the only ones I've got. All the people who, you know, responded straight away to the video, your comments are gone. I think what we'll do is we'll let me just check some other videos. I just want to check something. If other videos are okay and it's just that one, then we'll repeat the exercise. We'll do it again quite soon, maybe even next weekend. No, it won't be next weekend, Hannah's down. But we'll do it again soon. So you'll have to remember the comments that you put up and type them in again on another video, not against this one. There's a problem with this one. There's something screwed up. So if I just go into content, so I'm in studio now, I'm not somewhere where you people can normally get, unless you run your own channel. Let's have a look at that one. That's an old video. Watch on YouTube. And all the comments are there. Yeah, the first comment is from 4 days ago. This other one, the only comments are from 1 day ago. So this is an older video, and there's not a problem with it. I changed the sort to newest first. It does exactly what I expect it to do, and there's loads of comments on that video. So the problem is just with that one. That is a nuisance, to say the least. Sorry, I'm filming this so that you can see that I have tried to sort this out to the best of my ability, which hasn't worked. Right, let's do the 3 comments I've got. So those people will be happy. Nobody else will. I'll bet there's one in there I can't answer as well. Still got a croaky throat. Did a lot of talking yesterday.
Welcome to Orchids. In this video I'm going to explain how my questions and answers session is going to work.
So that's how you know it's the right video we're looking at, yeah? And then coming down we have 3 questions. I will do them newest first, even though there's only 3, and then we'll start with the oldest one. Right, this is a simple one. It's from Wandershaw 3551. These are the channel names. I can't get down to individual names via this route. Hi Roger, do you have a preference between growing species and hybrids? I've got a strange attitude to that because I run a YouTube channel. I'm after things that look good on film. So even though there are some tiny little jewels that are absolutely stunning, I can't film them. Yeah? So I'm after things that have a bit of a sort of spectacle value to them. It doesn't matter to me whether they're a species or a hybrid. Quite honestly, it doesn't even matter to me if they've got a name. I'm just interested in things that look good, that we can talk about on YouTube. Because although orchids are my hobby, it's all geared up to the YouTube channel. So that's the simple answer to that. I have no preference. I do know that in certain instances where judges are involved, they have a preference for species. A well-grown species to them sticks out. So they shouldn't be biased. They should judge each plant on its own merit, but I know they don't. But they've been caught out before by other judges. You know, people have actually said, you know, just because he grows that sort, that doesn't mean that's the best plant. You know, so yeah, they're not. Nothing's perfect where humans are involved. Far from it, in fact. Right. This one is from Judy Armstrong 7439. A lot of channels have got numbers on the end now because the name itself is not unique. So people have had to add something on the end, probably meaningful to them. Anyway, since your environment is now on the cold side, have you ever thought of growing the cold growing cattleyas, assuming they are available for purchase? They are very thin on the ground. Very difficult. In fact, before I read the rest of the question, Spice Exotic is probably the only place you can get a good selection of cattleyas. Burnham's don't sell cattleyas. They have some in their private collection, but they're large specimen plants. They don't sell them. Although I do have some insider information that may change one day, but busy doing other things at the moment. Yes, and there, what's his name? Trey Saunders. He may have a few. He basically only sells species and he sells young plants, so they'd have to be grown on. So Spice Exotic, what there is available to me, that's probably it. The only ones that they do have quite a selection. The majority are hybrids, but as I've said, I'm not so fussed about that. But if you're looking for the cooler growing cattleyas, you really need to be looking at species to be able to tell, if you see what I mean. Now there are some cool growing Lalias that have been reclassified as cattleyas. They're the Mexican Lalias. I've got Lalia anceps, that is one. I could try and find some more that come into that category. Yeah, so yes, I might look out, but I mean even my Laelia anceps isn't doing as well as it used to or any other place. I've got one other Cattleya. I've got some Prosthetias, those are Cattleya types. They're in the alliance, but they're not proper Cattleyas. But yeah, I've sort of crossed Cattleyas off of my mental list. I see some nice ones. I don't bother thinking about buying them because they're probably not going to do well in the winter. But the Mexican ones come from much higher elevations. They do, you know, take much colder winter temperatures, and as such demand virtually a full rest. Anyway, so that's the simple answer to that. Possibly, I may. But it would take work. First of all, I've got to find out what they're called, and then I've got to find out if anybody's got any. So it would take effort. And I'm basically lazy. Also, I have seen people combining orchids and bonsai by mounting miniature orchids to the bonsai. I would love to see you try that if you're interested. Not really, because all of my bonsai are outside bonsai. There's no indoor plants. I'm not interested in indoor bonsai. The types of trees that will grow indoors I don't particularly like. And the majority of my bonsai are actually species that grow in the wild in this country. So they're perfectly hardy in our environment. Although some of them do get lost in the winter where the pots freeze solid when they're soaking wet and it crushes the roots. But it's rare. It's rare. So I wouldn't be able to do that. It wouldn't be of major interest. Right, and then we've got B-Man the Great 00. How is your Coelogene lawrenceana doing? Well, I don't know. I suppose we better have a look. Now I've got to find it, haven't I? The trouble is, you can guarantee when I want to look at a particular plant, the label will be facing the back. I will try and find it. Ah, gotcha. That was easy. Well, initially looking at it, I would say it's not doing brilliantly. Basically because a lot of the bulbs are quite shriveled. Many of my Coelogenes have shriveled bulbs. Some Coelogenes, it's very, very difficult to stop that happening because it's a very delicate balance between them being too wet and the roots rotting and them getting enough hydration. The simple answer is to keep the humidity as high as you can, and that stops them dehydrating as fast through the plant. But this does have a new growth coming, so we've got one new growth. Other new growths, recent new growths, are this set at the front here. One thing that this one doesn't seem to suffer badly from is the brown tips. I mean, this has got a leaf tip that's fading, it's going yellow, that will probably go brown eventually, and I've snipped a couple over here. These are very old leaves. But let me just see if I can get it out, and then, because to tell how a Coelogene's doing, you've also got to have a look and see what's going on in the pot. Have we got roots? Right, so this plant has not got a good root system. In fact, it's quite a poor root system. So that's probably why the roots are shriveling. The roots haven't grown very well. So last time this was repotted, it obviously sulked. They do that. There's some signs of new root tips. But this, unlike a lot of Coelogenes, this one has quite a fine root system. Some of the Coelogene roots are pretty chunky. But there is not much sign of new root growth in that pot. So therein lies the problem. I've always said, if you've got a problem with a plant, chances are the problem's below ground, not above. So I wouldn't say it's doing well. It's surviving, it has a new growth that will produce some new roots. But it won't be enough. That plant will not plump up now. Those bulbs have gone too far. Plus you've got, out of the bulbs on the plant, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those bulbs are leafless, leaving 1, 2, that's a tiny little bulb, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with leaves. So over half of the bulbs are leafless, and are therefore, having shriveled, serving no purpose whatsoever. If they were big fat plump bulbs, then they would be. So I wouldn't say it's doing brilliantly. We may get a bloom on that latest growth. There's no sign of any blooms anywhere else, but yeah, so that's that. And I'm afraid those are the 3 questions I've got. Where the others went, I really don't know. Why, I don't know. But it isn't happening on other videos. It's just, and of course it would be that one, wouldn't it? Wouldn't have mattered on others. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what view you've got. If you review that, I don't know about phones. Phones work on an app that is totally different to the way laptops, computers and things work. They are quite different. There's a lot more settings and facilities on my laptop than you've got on your phone. But nonetheless, you should be able to review that video and have a look at the comments. Have you only got 3? Or is it just that they won't display to me, the owner? Yeah? So as a, mind you, they didn't display when I went over to the other channel, so I was viewing it as a viewer, not an owner. So I've tried both ways. So that's it. So we will repeat the exercise. I hope you can remember the questions and don't get so fed up that you don't bother retyping them. And it will probably be in 2 weeks' time. As I said, Hannah's down this coming weekend, so I won't do it then. I can't do the answers on a weekday. It's not fair on people who go to work. And some people do actually go to work. Not everybody's retired and sitting on their whatnot all day long. Although from what I've heard, most people who are retired are busier than they were when they were at work. Anyway, I apologise, especially for those that have been looking forward to this session. There are others. If you search my channel, get to my homepage and search, there's a search facility, little spyglass thing, magnifying glass. If you search for QS, that's all you need to put in. You don't need to try and put the whole title in, because I usually call them Q's and A's rather than questions and answers. So you could just put in QU. That's an abbreviation for the word question, or as I said, and that will bring up all the ones I've ever done. The alternative is there is a playlist with all of them in. So if you really wanted to watch one of the questions and answers sessions, there are others there. There'll be older ones, because we haven't done this for quite a while. There'll be ones going back to the other place. So they're around if you desperately want to see one. But as I said, we will repeat the exercise, and I do apologise that I spent some time trying to fix it and trying to find out what was wrong, and failed miserably. So I've done what I can, and we're stuck with it. What else? We've got some weather that sounds like it's going to be reasonable this week. Not boiling hot, with some showers, yes, but some dry things. So I'm hoping to get the decking finished. There's not much to do, but we haven't had the weather. And in addition to that, I want to get the old paintbrush out and get cracking on the staining. So the first thing I want to get stained is the table, because the table can then go on the decking, which means I can get at this corner out here, because this is just a right mess and a clutter at the moment. Can't get at anything. And then the actual bonsai staging, they need 2 coats, and there's 5 of them, and they can only be done half at a time. So the idea is to turn one up. I've got some carpet to stop me dripping all over the place, and I will do it outside if the weather's reasonable and there's no rain threatening. The stuff's touch dry in 2 to 3 hours and recoatable in 6. So they can have 2 coats in a day if I've got the energy. So basically turn them upside down so that I can paint the bottom, because obviously that's sitting on the ground. That needs a good thick coat. So paint the bottom and paint round the edges of the bottom. Then do the leg and then do the underside, but don't paint round the edges of what is effectively the top, because it's on the ground and I'll pick up all the hairs and everything off my piece of carpet. Yeah. Then when that's dry, turn it up the other way. Now the bottom has already had the edges done, so I've only got to do the surface, and the top I can now do the edges. Yeah. So I've got it all planned, and I could probably do them 2 at a time. Yeah. And if I can get both coats done in the same day, 2 at a time, I may be able to do more. They're not difficult to paint. They're flat surfaces. There's nothing fiddly. It's just, you know, brush full, get it on there sort of thing. So I'm hoping to get those done. The actual physical work in the garden, the plants and stuff like that, pruning and things, I'm not touching, because Hannah enjoys doing that so much. And I'd rather wait till she's down and we can share that sort of work. So that'll be done. And although a lot of you don't like the idea, I've got to get up on that shed and hack that bramble down. It's seriously encroaching on 3 people's properties now. It's getting well out of hand. It's got to be cut down. And then I have a serious weed killer chemical that eats right down into the plant sort of thing. So I'm actually going to mix that up and pour it down the back of the shed, so that it gets down into the ground behind the shed. And with any luck, that means nothing will ever grow there again. But it does mean getting the steps out, getting up on the shed and getting the big hedge trimmer out. But I reckon with Hannah helping keeping the steps still, and instead of mucking about with my sandals on like I did last time, which was very clumsy, get some proper shoes on with a bit of grip, and then I can sort of crawl up to the ridge and put my legs over and sit down. I can just sit on the ridge with the hedge trimmer. Hedge trimmer's got an adjustable handle, and once I'm up on the ridge it's perfectly safe. I'm not going anywhere. The worst thing that can happen is slide down the other side, because I could disappear down behind the shed then in the bramble. That would be fun, because I wouldn't be able to get out. Sounds dangerous, doesn't it? It'll be okay. If there's signs of anything like slipping or I don't feel safe, then I'll stop. I'll just have to get somebody else to do it. It could be done a lot easier from the other guy's shed roof, but we just don't get on. Although he wants the bramble sorted out, and he's had a shout and a rant and an F and a blind over the fence about it. So I'll see. If I'm hoping to be able to do it from my side, so that can be done. But finishing the decking off is the first job really, and then I can get the planting bit done, get the table coated up, get that over there, and then start on the bonsai stuff. And then once the bonsai staging's done, it means the trees have been lifted off and put somewhere safe. They've been done. They can then be put out of the way, finished, and all of this rubbish and all the old wood and everything can be cleared up, and I can get my patio back again, nice and tidy. It's a fair bit of work to do, and it is weather dependent, so hopefully we can get that done. Now out here, you're not going to like this either. I am 3 days late watering my orchids, and I'm not doing them today. I woke up this morning with quite a bad toothache, and it was 12:15, so I'd only been in bed 3 hours. I was asleep, and I woke up. I needed to go to the loo, and when I got back in bed I thought, oh, my jaw aches, and I thought it was my jaw, but then I thought actually that's a tooth, and I thought this is going to stop me getting back to sleep. So I got up to take some painkillers. I've got some that they're safe with the medicine that I take, so specifically asked. So I took some of them and I thought I'll have a sit down in the chair, and I thought if I put the telly on I'll fall asleep. Apparently there's some sort of football thing going on over in the States and Mexico and I think Canada as well, I think. I know somebody that's going to be upset about some of it being in Canada as well. Well, and Mexico, come to think of it. Well, now you know what I'm talking about. But basically there was, Scotland were actually playing their first match. It's their first time they've qualified for the Football World Cup in something like 30 years or something. So it's obviously a big deal for the old Scots. So all the jocks were over there in their kilts and the bagpipes were out and everything. The people that have spent a fortune going over there, they won. So they've now got another game. So those people that are over there, there's probably quite a lot of them expected to be on their way home. And now they've got to contemplate staying. And have they got tickets? You know, all that sort of stuff. So you've got to be pretty well off to actually follow your team through this tournament because of the distances. And the place being what it is, everybody's doubled and trebled their prices. The other two countries haven't. So yeah, so it's a rip-off. The tickets themselves are a rip-off. I mean that's not the country's fault, is it? That's the people who organise the football. But I know two things about football: nothing and bugger all, and I'd like to keep it like that. It doesn't interest me at all. Too much cheating. But nonetheless, it's probably the most popular sport worldwide as well. You know, in some very obscure countries, they can still be nuts on football. So it's going on. It is World Cup, so it's at the potentially this is the highest level that there can be. But far more important for me, as far as sport is concerned, is the tennis is on at Queen's, which is I think that's West London. It's not somewhere I actually know where it is, but it's the prequel to Wimbledon, which will be coming soon. Queen's is a grass court. I'm not interested in you don't see hard court tennis on TV. You see the asphalt tennis, which is the sort of ready brick sort of coloured stuff like that, and if anybody falls over, they're absolutely smothered in it. So their nice little white shirt and white dresses or white shorts are all covered in this sort of, it's like red mud. It's horrible stuff. But there's televised tournaments on that. I just like the tennis on grass basically. But all the games I've seen so far have been ladies' games. And unlike most tournaments, we've still got some Brits in. They normally get knocked out in the first round. And what's her name's come back in? American lady, one of two sisters. Her name's not going to come. Been playing tennis a very, very long time. Very, very popular. And her game was doubles. I'm not sure she's entering the singles. She hasn't played for donkey's years. And there was standing room only. The place was absolutely packed for that game. And I think her and her partner actually won. Yeah, I'm not very good at remembering names. I just enjoy a good game, basically. Yeah, so there's a bit of tennis going on, not much else that I'm interested in. There's cricket going on, that's like watching paint dry. Yeah, so there's a bit of tennis, and it's coming up to Wimbledon. I do like watching some of Wimbledon, but with Wimbledon I'm selective as to who's playing. I enjoy some people's game and others not. The people I don't like are in the men's, where somebody's got an almighty powerful serve and that's their game. So their game consists of whack, 15 love, whack, 30 love. That is so boring. There is no entertainment value whatsoever. Don't care how fast it is, keep coming up with the speed, 100 and something kilometres an hour. Don't care. It's not a game. Tennis is about rallies and little trick shots, and you know, it's supposed to be a game, not just a one-serve point all the time. So it wins games, but yeah, it's not cheating. It's perfectly valid. Don't get me wrong, but it's just boring to watch, as you know, as an entertainment. Which is, to me, I don't play sports anymore. So if I'm watching it, I need to be entertained, and that's not. And if there's two of them, one each end, there's no game at all. You know. So yeah. Anyway, that's sport done. We've done that. We run everything down into the ground. We've got any Olympics coming up? Because when we get the Olympics on, there's so many different sports. I've got a choice. I mean, I love the archery. I like the shooting. In the winter sports, you know, I like those guys that do the cross-country skiing and then have to stop and do like target shooting when they're all puffed out, freezing flipping cold, and they've got to do pinpoint accuracy. And if they miss, they lose points quite dramatically. They get a time penalty on the event. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that I like to watch. I like watching skiing. Obviously, there's none of that going on. But yeah, so some sport I enjoy. I quite like darts sometimes, but sometimes the audience, the crowd, spoil it for me, because all they've done is they've gone there, they've dressed up in silly costumes, and they want to chant and they want to sing and be stupid. I think some of them don't even know there's a darts match on. They just go there to be stupid and try and get on camera. So it can take the edge off it sometimes. I like watching the snooker, but again, it depends who's playing. But yes, so that's sport done. In here, tomorrow will be a watering day. It's also Orchid Society Money Day, which means I've got to head off to the post office and pay the money in from yesterday's meeting. Yeah, so I got all that done this morning. I had quite a bit of spare time. So I got all that done. And it was nice that the book's balanced, because when we have the plant auction, it's dependent on quite a few people. You've got the guy holding the plant up, doing the auction, you know, £10, do I see 11, do I see 12, do I see so and so, and then whoever wins has to hold their paddle number up, and he shouts out paddle number 12, and the people over there have got to write down paddle number 12 sold for this amount and update a list for me to be able to update the books later. And he's doing the next plant by then, so it's all a bit of a flap and a bit of a panic. And it was £2 out. And I thought, oh, flipping it, I'm going to have to go through every ticket now and match it back to the plant and the names and and blow me, it was the second one I looked at and it was mine. They'd written down £22, but the person who bought it paid me £24 for it. So they bid 24, they wrote down 22. So, yeah. But I found it really quickly, so I thought, oh no, I'm going to have to go through every single one. And it was the second one I looked at. Yeah, so that all went okay. The money all balanced. I like it when that happens. So the thing is, when you're doing the books like that, you know, accounts, some people say, well, if there's a bit more money than you think there should be, that's okay, isn't it? No, it's not. It's still wrong. It's either right or it's not right. Whether it's up or down, whether it's out up too much or out too little, although that sounds worse, it's still wrong, isn't it? So I like it when it balances up nicely. It doesn't always. The worst balancing act is after a show. Because you're on the front desk, you've got money coming at you from all flipping directions for many different things. And the next show's the worst one. Because people will be paying for their membership for the following year. They'll be paying for the show. they'll be paying for the Christmas do. And they're all, some of them want to pay 2 or 3 things at once, you know, and all the various lists and everything have got to be updated. It's very easy to get out of hand, even with 2 of us. Sometimes having 2 of us there actually makes it worse. But I wouldn't want to do it on my own. I mean, when I did my report, I did do a big thank you to the Assistant Treasurer, Jane, because there are certain meetings where I wouldn't be able to do treasurer stuff, because the meeting starts at 2 for 2:30, and in that bit there I've got to set all the kit up. Nobody else does that, that's me. Well, I can't be doing the treasurer's stuff on the desk at the back for the treasurer's functions and be setting the kit up. So, you know, it's quite important to have that backup person. So, and she does fine as well. She does. I don't ever have to check it or anything like that. It's more the other way around. She checks what I'm doing. So that's that. Out here, watering tomorrow, and it's everything tomorrow except Cymbidiums and Phalaenopsis. The Pleonies need doing. They're starting to look a little bit dry. They're starting to dry out a lot quicker now. Some of that is because we get some sun on the roof now and again, which warms it up in here, which they don't like. But in addition to that, some of the leaves are getting pretty big now. I'll just take, this one's at the front, it's the only reason I'm picking it up. But this is 2 bulbs and 2 new growths, and I mean these leaves are pretty big, you know. And obviously they're trying to swell the bulbs up. So they're starting to drink now and feed. My friend Alan actually mentioned that yesterday, because on the last tour at Mather's, David was saying their feed level. They work in microsiemens rather than TDS like I do. I can't afford an expensive meter to work that way. But TDS is around 2/3 of the value. And they feed their Pleonies at 1,000 microsiemens, which is around 650, TDS of 650. That's a high level feed. That's the same as I feed my Cymbidiums, and on occasions my Phalaenopsis get that sort of feed level. Nothing else does. I mean, when I do all these orchids tomorrow, I'll probably have a TDS of around 200, something like that. It is the growing season, but not everything's growing that much, you know, so yeah. Right, how are we doing up here? What we're doing up here is we have had enough. I didn't do a coffee because I was struggling here, trying to get this flipping lot sorted, so I could do the drink now. I'm a bit dry after yesterday, and yeah. Thanks for dropping by and everything. Because I've got sorted with this and got in a bit of a muddle, I don't know whether I've actually got any new members. I can quickly check on YouTube, as it's under my nose here. I wouldn't normally be able to do this, would I? Where are we? We need to go there, and then we need to go there, and we need to go there. It looks like somebody's shifted from one level to another. I had a new person came in at the intermediate level, so that's above the basic level but not the highest level, the super level, and then they dropped off, but at exactly the same point the highest level went up by 1. So that looks like somebody changed their mind. A bit like that, possibly, I don't know. But as I said, I have to go through the list. I mean, it basically says, in the last 31 days I've gained 4 members, but I've had 3 cancellations. But when somebody changes a level, strictly speaking, that is a cancellation, but it's also a new one. So it's the same person. So the stats take a little bit of fiddling around. But I've still got 21 members. I'm happy with that. That's good. Some more would be nice, but 21's good. And over on the Patreon site, it's a lot more of a faff to actually find out if there's any new ones. So yeah, but if you are a member, thanks for the support. The support now becomes, I'm treading on a bit of bark. This is when it sort of comes into its own. I'm off to the Gardeners World Live event on Thursday, which is where the International Orchid Show is held. It's part of that event up at the NEC in Birmingham, or on the outskirts of Birmingham. It's very easy to get to. It's just a tedious journey. It's motorway virtually all the way, and some of it's actually quite attractive. There's some, you know, some things to look at, scenery. I'm supposed to look at where you're going really, but you know, on a motorway, if everybody's driving sensibly, there's not a lot to concentrate on. It can almost become boring enough that you don't concentrate as much as you should, because they're virtually straight roads, 3 lanes wide, 4 at times, lanes clearly marked, barriers, junctions clearly marked. Nobody's going to come flying in, you know, like at a right angle. There's no roundabouts or anything. You just plod away at it, you know. So, but it's on the Google Maps. It says 3 hours. It's 151. It says 3 hours, but that route planner sticks to every legal speed limit completely, without any exception whatsoever. Not all of us do that. The trouble is, there's quite long sections of that particular motorway that have actually got cameras, so it's going to cost you if you want to speed in those areas. I'm quite happy to stick to speed limits when it's regulated. I ain't got a problem with that, but I object to speed limits on roads where there's not a problem. I mean, there's a county here, near here, Hampshire. They decided across the board that all villages would have speed restrictions. Now I can understand why, but sometimes 2 houses is classed as a village, and they start half a mile before and go on half a mile. So you've got a mile of restricted speed for 2 houses. It's pointless. By the time you've slowed up, you know, people don't bother. And they're not going to put cameras in there. They would, you know, be silly. So it's the mobile cameras that catch people out. Because again, they're not concentrating. If you can't see those mobile cameras, it's a van, you know, with stripes and things on it like that, and a window in the back that's black. If you can't flip and see that, you know, it's on the roadside, it's right there. If you can't see that from far enough away to be able to slow up, then you deserve a ticket. Tough. Anyway, so it'll probably take me 2.5 to 2 3/4, something like that. I shall knock some time off of it. It's like my road between here and Ringwood, the little A road, and it might even be a B road, but it's a little road to get to Ringwood, to get on the dual carriageway and then the motorway for the rest of the journey. Or at least dual carriageway anyway. That little road there is, that's got some 30 zones and the rest of it's 50. There's no unlimited. Unlimited on those sort of roads in this country is 60. This is miles per hour, not kilometres. So on single track roads like that, it's 60. On dual carriageways and motorways, unless it says otherwise, it's 70. Do you know what? That 70 miles an hour speed limit was brought in when we had the 3-day weeks and the coal miners' strikes, and businesses had to close because there was no power and stuff like that. That's when I was at college, and they brought that speed limit in to save fuel. It's never been taken away. You know, I mean, there's other countries, I mean, you know, when you get on their equivalent of their motorways and stuff, you just go, you know. But not here. So, but I shall knock some time off of that, I'm sure. My problem will be coming home, because it's a weekday, it's a Thursday, and I'm not going to stay for the whole day. I'm not going to stay right up to 5 or 6 o'clock, right up to the end, because I would then have had a ridiculously long day, and with that length of drive coming home, I could be tired. And obviously, if you get too tired, your driving suffers, and I don't want to be in that position. So I shall probably leave mid-afternoon, but I'm going to hit workers' traffic. You know, people who finish work for the day, school traffic. There'll be excess traffic around, so it won't be a quick journey home. But at least it's, you know, when you're on the way home, you just plod away, don't you? You just think, I'll be home soon. And then I can collapse in the chair and fall asleep. But, anyway, so that will be the day. But yes, obviously going to an international show like that's the only big show I can get to. I would like to buy some new orchids. So this is where the memberships and the donations and everything go into the pot, and this is where we dip into the pot. Bring home some nice new orchids for you to see, providing I find some, of course. And obviously I'll get some video material from the displays. Quite a few orchid societies will have nice displays with all sorts of weird and wonderful orchids, many of which I've never heard of. So we'll get some good video clips to show, and hopefully some new orchids to come home with. And being a weekday, being a Thursday, then it's relatively predictable what the next Friday's video will be. It'll be, I have some new orchids, or I hope it will. But yes, that's where the contributions come in handy for that sort of thing. You know, it's a tank full of fuel. I shall need to eat something while I'm there and whatever. So, you know, it'll be quite an expensive day out. But I'm doing it one way or the other. So, other videos coming up, unpredictable at the moment. Unpredictable. Tomorrow's my day off, so there won't be a video tomorrow. I do film on a Monday sometimes, but I don't post. Sometimes I post a gardening video on a Monday. But as I said, I've got a big watering day. I might just stick the camera up. That was one of the requested videos when I asked about video suggestions, was watering session. Some people actually quite enjoy listening to me talk while I'm watering and holding up a few plants to have a look at and talk about them, and a bit of watering and, you know, that sort of stuff. So I might just set the camera up tomorrow. As I said, I've got to water virtually everything. I might use it as an opportunity to do a Peony update, because there's no blooms now till next year. All there is growth. But it might be worth, as I've got to get them out and water them, might be worth doing that as an update. That can be a separate video. So, and I've also got all of your wonderful video suggestions, of which there is a big list. We've done the list, I think. Yeah, so I wrote all those down. I can dip into those, cross them off as and when I do them. So I've got no excuse not to film things. I know some people were a bit worried about not having a video 5 or 6 days a week. As I said, I'm not filming just for the sake of it. It seems pointless. And the video wouldn't be that interesting, I doubt. It might be to some, I suppose, but whatever. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being members. That is important to me. And thanks for watching. That's the next best thing. Supporting the channel is watching it. Thumbs up. Subscribing if you haven't already done so. All of these things keep the channel plodding along and slowly climbing away. It's not going to do that. That's not going to happen on an orchid channel. But as long as it's doing that, I'm happy. As I said, it grows. I'm on memberships at the moment. If I go back to overview, what does it say I've been up to? Let's have a look. Because I get a basic view of what's going on, if you know what I mean, and it just gives an outline without digging into details. This is a 28-day period from now going backwards. 12 new subscribers. That's 30 less than usual. Hope you're listening. Watch time 3.3 thousand. And views 18,000, nearly 19,000. So all of those are less than usual. So the last 28 days the channel hasn't been performing as well as it has done. Doesn't mean to say it's going downhill, it just means it's climbing slower. It's like the inflation rate, isn't it? Yeah? There is virtually always inflation. It's just a matter of, is it fast or is it slow? Because it's just always there. So yes, there's always some channel growth. Yeah, that's not brilliant, but it's at least it's growing a bit, even though it's not growing as much as it has done. I can adjust this. I can take away that and go. I can go to the last 90 days, I can put dates in if I can be bothered, but I can't. Yeah, again, that's showing subscribers, big green tick, and the other two down a little bit, but only a little bit. I can go for a year, and then that will compare, I presume that compares to the previous year? I don't know. But I mean, in a year, I've gained 633 subscribers. You know, you can average that over a week. Watch time is in ridiculous numbers. So yeah, I've got some basic stats I can look at. So sorry about the problem with the video. I don't know what's happened. I have no explanation. It hasn't happened on the others. All the other videos are fine. It's just that one. And it would be that one, wouldn't it? Typical. The one where we need the comments. So, as I said, we will repeat the option. And thanks for dropping by and everything. And I will see you next time.